Good afternoon once again from ADIPEC 2025 in Abu Dhabi. Very pleased to welcome Mr. John Butler from Global Maritime, decarbonizing the shipping industry. The Middle East is really taking a very proactive basically steps. We know DP World, we know Abu Dhabi ports, also we know Asyad in Oman.
Yep.
We have all what it takes. Where are we globally in this regard?
Globally, I would say we're moving forward progressively, but with intent. What I've noticed over the last number of years is the fact that there's been a slow and intentional increase in the amount of activity that we're seeing in vessel owners and operators being cognizant of the requirements to decarbonize, and also being more open to looking at technologies in order to allow them to decarbonize.
We have seen some big steps from DP World and others basically in terms of ships, so beyond reaching ships and or the vessels, and after that. What about the session itself, sailing basically, which is still a big part of the whole spectrum? How can we decrease that? We're talking about hydrogen, but we don't know where we are in this space in terms of pricing, in terms of scalability and all that. So meanwhile, what can we do to decrease that, the decarbonization within that very important period?
So that's a great question, Sal. So the way I look at these things is the fact that when we look at a ship, we can't for a second think that we can replace marine diesel oil with an alternative fuel. That simply isn't possible. The energy required isn't quite there. So what we have to look at is a combination of alternate fuels, but with vessel efficiencies. So vessel efficiencies will come in different guises. That could be looking at route optimization, looking at preferential energy management systems. So basically, simply, we're not wasting energy on board the vessel. There's also things like hybridization, use of battery storage, how to use different storage capacities within the vessel in order to develop the overall emissions itself and reduce those down. So what we're trying to do is take technology, create a more efficient vessel, reduce down the amount of fuel burn, which then we get to a position where we've got the fuel energy requirements that can be used with alternative fuels. That's the trick.
In aviation, for example, we have SAF, Sustainable Aviation Fuel. We have, that is also still less than 1% globally. We have the eSAF, which is a good alternative, but God knows about the prices and the rates, which is not scalable. In the shipping industry, we have mostly green hydrogen, which is also still, inshallah, in 2040, 2050. So how do you foresee the alternative fuel for the shipping industry?
So the way I always describe it is that, personally, green hydrogen has got to be the best next step.
That's the best available.
Exactly. Now, there's a lot of alternatives, but it's when we're talking about alternatives and we're talking about derivatives. If you're looking at an ammonia or methanol, they're derivatives of hydrogen. Often, methanol or ammonia are used for transportation once you produce green hydrogen, because it's easier to transport liquid methanol than it is liquid hydrogen. Now, the case is, though, that we need to build out the infrastructure to support hydrogen. And that is coming. I think the Middle East is a huge opportunity. You see what's happening regionally here in the UAE. We see it happening in all locations across the Middle East, from Oman to KSA. The hydrogen backbone is already being built up and delivered. Now, the opportunity is to create vessel-ready solutions. And all these vessels, they may start in the Middle East, they may work within the Middle East, but when they go elsewhere, they'll be looking for alternative locations in order to build out that hydrogen. That will help supplement the likes of China and Europe and even the US when they're looking at building out their hydrogen ecosystem. But you need an ecosystem to develop together. But between the Middle East and Europe, very, very strong connection, very, very strong balance.
At COP28 in Dubai, in the United Arab Emirates, 1 trillion dirham, 268 billion US dollars have been allocated or pledged basically for green finance. Our sources confirm that more than 60% of that amount, just in less than 2 years, have already been allocated, deployed.
Yep.
All right. So now here in the UAE, we are moving and we are talking about being a pioneer in blue finance. Where are we with blue finance globally? Here in the UAE, we saw something with DP World, maybe Abu Dhabi, also in Oman. Where are we in blue finance?
I think it's again, it's moving, but not at full pace you'd like to see.
The opportunity, the potential is
the
huge.
opportunities are definitely there. You know, you look at when you look at Northern Europe, you've got Fuel EU, you've got the Hydrogen Bank. You know, you've got a lot of mechanisms in order to still access finance. The UK, to their credit, are still looking at aspects in order to be able to provide credit and grants to vessel owners, developers, port infrastructure abilities in order to be able to create the ecosystem. Is there enough finance there? Is probably another question, and probably not.
Yeah.
Is it easy to use it? Yeah. Maybe not, but it's there.
Yeah. My last question is about carbon tax.
Yeah.
We believe that here in the Middle East, particularly UAE, carbon tax is coming within 2 to 4 years.
Yeah.
Basically for different reasons, including double taxation,
Yeah.
avoid double taxation with the EU. How do you foresee basically the carbon tax and its impact on the shipping industry?
It depends on how you use it. So one of the reasons that today I wanted to talk about the net zero framework from the IMO is because it's a very unique opportunity globally where we use shipping, where you have unilateral or multilateral aspects to be able to identify geographies and ship owners and vessel operators all over the world. It becomes a carbon tax, but the benefit of that carbon tax is it's used as an accumulation, but then to support companies and vessel owners and taxation for companies who want to decarbonize. So what you're doing is you're taxing the high emitters, but then you're helping them become low emitters, while at the same time you're helping other locations, other geographies to decarbonize as well. So it becomes a win-win. But the IMO, the net zero framework, has a real opportunity to do something that's from a global carbon taxation that we don't see anywhere else, not in aviation, not in infrastructure, not in industry. So that's why I think it's so important. And seeing that come through, one way, shape or form, it will happen. The IMO, I think, is the most compliant, fairest and transparent way.
John, thank you very much for being with us today.
It's all my pleasure.